point out for video is stream films and TV shows using Roku. Roku is basically a device, a small device that you connect to the internet. Once you connect to the internet, it basically gives you access to TV channels, premium channels. And this basically gives them the business of earning money and showing content. This is basically something that I know the Philippines will adopt in the next few years. Why? Because basically, ito yung sinasabi natin, adaptation. People should adapt. People should really, or broadcasters, radios and TV should adapt to the change that's happening right now. The attention of people are scattered. Kanina, I heard a discussion regarding multi-screen and second screen. We should be focused now on how we could get into those screens. Second, I remember earlier there was a discussion saying, while watching TV, someone is also either texting or someone's either tweeting. Marami ngayon noise. Noise in terms of yung focus ng tao wala. Nawawala ngayon sa radyo or TV, but basically to another screen. And how do we address that problem? I think we should marry, though it's happening right now, we should marry broadcasting and media together. There should be a convergence. This slide basically is something that depicts what convergence is. Adaptation is what technology is all about. Originally, the computer was created for productive purposes. But then suddenly there was a demand for, oy, gusto ko manood ng TV. Or, what if the computer can stream videos? Then, eto na, devices came out that addressed the consumers. Because basically, consumers want more access, want more control. Once you give them access, you have their attention. The convergence is very important. This is something that should be happening now. It's happening in other parts of the globe, but convergence here in the Philippines should happen. Let me try to explain what convergence in the Philippines means. Radio and TV basically is one side of the corner, while online, internet, mobile is on the side. Radio and TV are basically content owners. You want basically your content gusto nyong pagkakitaan or you want to spread out information. You want people to have access to you. While telcos, ISPs, they have the access, they have the base as well, they have the technology, but they don't have the content. In the middle of that are the device owners. These device owners knows exactly what convergence is because what they do is they talk to content owners like you to have your content on their devices or have access to your content. But how do they monetize this? This is basically where the third party comes in, which is your telcos, your ISPs. This media convergence will bring a lot of possibilities, a lot of future when it happens. It's happening now, but there's a small amount of resistance because there's always a question, it's my content, but how do I monetize it? I'd like to expound as well that these sort of models are different, or should be, how should I say it? More of this sort of business model is the old model, wherein we need to look at the new business models of monetizing our content in a different manner. How do we do that? Simple. There are things that we do every day in our lives that we don't realize. It's basically OTT or over the top. One is water, pagbukas ko ng gripo, may tubig. But others, ginagawa nilang business. They open the laman, ibebenta, then they create business. That's a simple analogy of what over-the-top business is. But if you convert that or translate that into digital, this is something that we might be able to exploit or use, wherein we have the content. They have the delivery. They have the distribution method, these telcos. They have the platform. Why not let's marry why not let's marry these three things together where TV and radio work together with the telco or ISPs and find ways and means to monetize their content. Yes, advertising is one, but there are other stuff. Earlier I mentioned data is the new oil, and basically data mining is basically something that you can monetize. when you translate that sa sinasabi ko na marrying these three things together, you might not earn from, let's say, subscription or SMS messages, but having the base, having communicated, having distributed these your content, and getting the data, gathering the data from these ISPs or these technology companies that know how to translate this information into currencies, then you can start converting your content into revenues. What I'm trying to explain basically is I'm jumping from one idea to another, but basically I'm addressing one item. What I'm addressing basically is we are still in the old model of this is what we want, but the market is actually now changing. In the past, computers were just designed for productivity use, but now because of certain clamor or want, or let's say, yung eksakto yung sinasabi natin na need of these consumers, they want to use or parang sinasabi ko is, sorry, I'm just excited to explain these technologies, but basically the migration and the usage of these devices is exciting me. And the use of the computers has now changed. Ang nangyari, more devices were invented, more powerful devices, wherein you can not only use your computer for productivity, but for entertainment. For example, in the screen right now, you're seeing a PC that was just used for typing, word production. But now, since there is need for change and need for improvement, the tablets were invented. People in the past, because again, going back to consumer empowerment, people in the past used to record music sa Walkman. Why is that so? Because they wanted to control their own content. But now, because of technology, certain software, certain applications, certain websites were created rather to address these wants. These technologies are now actually giving these consumers the power to control their content and the flexibility to share it. In the past, we used to buy vinyls, we used to buy CDs. These are something that very limited, and you cannot share it. Well, technically, yes, but then it's something that it's not that easy to share because you still hold it together with you. I mean, ano siya, importante siya. But if you want to share it to everybody else, then you can go online. Spotify is one of that applications, music applications that enables you to share content. Basically, all these things are now created abroad. These things are now generating interest abroad, which I believe in the Philippines, we should get into this. Reimagination of TV, basically, TV in the past was just literally a box sitting on a table, watching, broadcasting information. But then there's people who wanted to know more, people wanted to control what they're watching. Thus, nagkaroon ng invention wherein people can now start controlling what they want to watch. These are technologies now available for the Philippines. Why are these now here? Or why are these technologies being created? Because of one thing. These technologies were invented basically for consumers to consume their content the way they want to consume it, the way they want to control it. I'd like to show you one video wherein in the US they created an app wherein free TV can now be streamed in an application that you can download, and you can actually control it and share it with your peers.
Startup called Aereo just launched its streaming TV service here in New York, so we decided to give it a test drive. The company, which is backed by former TV executive Barry Diller, expects to roll out the service to up to 100 cities within a year. Basically, Aereo lets you stream and record all of the stations that are available free over the air. Right now, the Aereo service, which is $12 a month, only works on the Safari browser and iPhone and iPads, but the company expects to roll it out to other browsers and Android devices sometime soon. So let's take a look at it on my iPad.
On an iPhone or iPad or on your computer, you just go to the Safari browser
and log into Areo.com. You can register up to 5 devices on an account, and it's actually very easy to get started. So what's interesting about the Areo interface is that it's very app-like, even though it exists in a browser. The site, which is built on HTML5, is much easier to navigate on a touchscreen device using your finger than on a computer using a mouse. So it's really straightforward. There's a guide that displays the shows that are currently on air and those coming up, and you can just tap on a show to watch it or record it. So let's take a look at Arthur, which is currently on PBS. There's a little bar on the video player that shows the streaming status. This little dot, once it gets all the way to the right, where there's the live, that's where it might pause for a couple seconds and buffer, but really, it's been very, very reliable every time that we've tried to watch a show. On the Areo site, you can easily change your 5 registered devices and also check on the status of your 2 antennas. Each Areo account has 2 dedicated antennas, which are tiny wafer-thin little guys that live in a warehouse in Brooklyn. Having 2 antennas allows you to watch live TV at the same time that you may be recording something. To watch your recorded shows, you just go up to your recordings and click on what you want to watch. I recently recorded the local newscast. Just click watch and it'll show up.
Right now, every major broadcaster in New York is suing Areo for copyright infringement. The lawsuits basically imply that Areo is somehow stealing from the conventional way of watching TV. Well, you can certainly watch Areo on your TV using Apple TV or a Roku box or just plugging in your computer. I'd imagine that a lot of people, even cable subscribers, would want to use the service to watch breaking news or the latest episode of Parks and Rec on their mobile device. Whether or not Areo ends up being the next big thing, it will certainly push things forward so that you can watch TV where you want to watch it, when you want to watch it, and how you want to watch it.